The Callisto Protocol, one of my most anticipated games of the year, has been out now for almost 2 weeks at this point. When it released, I was in Florida due to a card tournament. I was incredibly excited to return home, pick up the game, and start my playthrough. The director, Glenn Schofield, hope I pronounced that right, was the director and one of the creative minds behind the original Dead Space. So I was incredibly excited to play this game, because just looking at it, you can absolutely see the inspiration of Dead Space, and it does look like it could even take place in the Dead Space universe. A little bit. And to my surprise, while I was in Florida, I was reading lots of different articles and early reviews on the game, and a lot of people were saying it was a letdown. They were not happy with the final product, and they felt like the game may have been overhyped in a way. Well, I just finished my first playthrough, clocking in a little over 14 hours, so I am here to give you my personal opinions about the game. Now, to give you a little bit of backstory, horror is not my forte. I do enjoy the occasional good horror game, especially if the story is just fantastic. And this game, honestly, in my opinion, had a decent story. Even if it is a little convoluted. You play as Jacob Lee, a cargo transporter, along with his partner, Max Borrow, who are trying, at least from what I can tell, trying to finish up one last job before they can head home. Unfortunately, their cruiser is attacked by a terrorist organization, and they crash land on the planet Callisto, home to Black Iron Prison. Unfortunately, Jacob, for some reason, is taken into the prison and incarcerated, becoming an inmate. Now, the very first thing that I noticed about this game, and I absolutely ogled at, I think that's the right term, at every chance I got, was just the amount of detail and beauty in this world. This game is absolutely gorgeous from start to finish. A few technical hiccups, here and there, which, is understandable for a newly released game in these days. I hate it, but I get it. The game is just incredibly detailed, and you cannot deny that. Another thing with this game is that it does not hold back the gore and intensity, and just these really, really intense situations. After being processed, Jacob wakes up, what appears to be the next day, to the prison in absolute chaos. There's rioting, there's killing, everything's on fire, and of course you're trying to figure out what's going on. Just like Dead Space, there is an outbreak. Everyone is transforming into creatures, monsters, deformed humans, and those who aren't are being brutally murdered by the creatures. So immediately I'm drawn to, wanting to know what's going on. What started this outbreak, and how the hell can I get off this planet? Soon afterwards, you meet up with Elias Porter, a longtime prisoner who claims that he can get you off this planet. And for someone who apparently has been here for half their life, he's incredibly nice. Like, he's the best dude bro that you were going to find in this prison. He's constantly got your back. He even gives you a shiv. Look at that, to help you. And that's one of your long-time tools that you'll be using in this game. Together, you'll be working with Elias and a couple other prisoners to escape. And from there, it is just a complete bloodbath, melee fest, and horror show, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people have been discussing, is this truly a return to survival horror? Someone like me who doesn't play too many survival horror games besides the newer Resident Evil games like Resident Evil 7, 8, Dead Space 1 and 2, and even 3, and I agree, Dead Space 3 is not survival horror. But for me personally, I feel like this game matches that definition. I'm constantly trying to organize my resources and use as little resources as possible, because I know I'm probably going to need them sooner or later. The game does heavily focus on melee combat. A lot of the clips you'll see here are him pointing a gun, but that gun is really only used in the first 4/5 of the game as a side arm, because you're mainly going to be using your stun baton as your main focus weapon in the game, because this game entirely is melee combat. Well, 90% melee combat. You will be dodging left and right, bob and weaving to avoid the enemy's attacks while you beat them down, and then look for that good opportunity to shoot them, just to stun them while you continuously beat them down even further. You will also get access to a grip module, which will allow you to grab enemies, grab items, throw items at enemies, or grab enemies to throw them into dangerous pieces, like dangerous equipment or spiky walls, which are littering the entire complex. With this grip module, I felt like I was back in Dead Space, and I absolutely loved that. Of course, just like Dead Space, there is a store where you can buy ammunition, upgrade your equipment. You will find about 5 different guns in the game, if I'm not mistaken. You can upgrade each gun, and of course, you can upgrade your stun baton. Me personally, I focus on upgrading my stun baton because I knew that was going to be my main weapon going forward, and I wanted to be at my absolute best that I could be. But don't skip on upgrading your guns. Trust me, the last fifth of the game, almost even the last fourth of the game, you will need good guns with lots of ammo, lots of damage, lots of stopping power, because the last couple enemies really are only going to be killable with guns. It does kind of annoy me that a lot of people are saying this is not true survival horror. Personally, when I look at this game and then compare it to what people say is the grand master of survival horror, Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, they say the tank controls added to that horror element because you weren't able to completely control your character the best way, so that added to the tension. Well, guess what? I feel the same way about this game. Are the controls perfect? No. I will absolutely say I feel like the camera's a little too close up on Jacob, and the bobbing and weaving, dodging mechanic could be a bit better. It adds to the tension of the game, and personally, I feel like that's perfectly okay. And other people saying the game isn't scary, I don't know what game you played, but I was spooked. The atmosphere, the sounds in this game just constantly had me on edge. Whenever I entered a new room, I was constantly looking around to see if there's anybody there, even though I could hear something. There were so many moments that I did get jump scared, and there are a lot of jump scares in this game. But the atmosphere is perfect, in my opinion. The lights, the sound, it was amazing. Now, another cool thing was that there were so many opportunities where I thought a monster was going to pop out that didn't, and a lot of opportunities where I didn't think a monster would possibly show itself, and it did. It constantly had me second guessing, am I going to see something or am I not? The characters in the game, I think, played their part well. They don't go into crazy backstory with any of these characters, but I think in this context it works perfectly fine. I loved seeing Josh Duhamel play Jacob, Karen Fukuhara playing Danny, and Sam Witwer playing the Captain Harris character. They all were great. I do wish I got to see Sam Witwer and Captain Ferris a bit more. He was a great duo antagonist, if that's the right pronunciation. The game does end on a pseudo cliffhanger, which could mean we are getting a sequel, but to be honest, I'd rather not. This game kind of wrapped itself up in a way that I felt was okay to leave it as a one and done. But I definitely believe the season pass, which we will be getting, which first of all I think is absolutely ridiculous, a $30 season pass for a single player game, which locked behind a lot of extra content, should not be a thing. But anyway, I think that will more than likely continue the story from there, which I'm fine with. Now, of course, there are some negatives that I have. I think the difficulty in certain areas spiked a little bit too much, but overall, after a couple tries, I was able to get past it. They do reuse a lot of the same pseudo-boss a couple times, which was really annoying. I haven't been this annoyed with a couple boss battles in a long time. The game also has one of the worst autosave features, autosaving right before I go into a room with a workshop so I can, upgrade my stuff, buy new stuff, and then just, if I die, I have to start right back before that. It's just these little things here and there. There was also a boss battle where, for some reason, even though I was at full health when I started the boss fight, after I died and respawned right in front of it, my health was at literally like 1%. So I wasn't able to heal myself during it, because if you try healing yourself during a fight, you will die. That is just a fact. It was just super annoying that I was at full health, and then for some reason I was dropped down to 1 hit point, where if I took even a single hit, I would die. And I was stuck at that boss fight for probably like a good 30, 45 minutes. Another huge letdown was the fact that there's no New Game Plus mode, which makes no sense for this type of game. So with that, I don't know if they're holding that behind the season pass, but if they are, that is an absolute bullshit move, and that is just very disappointing. On top of that, this game was released at $70 US, and I know a lot of PlayStation 5 and now the Xbox Series X games are going to be doing that. To be honest, is an absolute joke. This game really should not have been $70 with the missing New Game Plus mode, basically missing a lot of replay value in the game. This game really should have just been at $60, and the fact that the season pass is going to be $30 is just insane. Overall, I still enjoyed more than I hated, but with everything taken into account, the most I can give this game is a 7 out of 10. It does amazing things. The combat's fun. The story is pretty decent. I constantly had that urge to want to know more and more and more, and the more I found out, it was all just coming together, and it felt really good. Unfortunately, there are a lot of negatives holding it back. The lack of any replay value without a New Game Plus, the overpriced season pass at $30, holding back a lot of content like a permadeath mode, hardcore mode, a survival mode, and the fact that the game was released at $70. So altogether, this game could go for about $100 to get the complete collection is just insane to me. But I really think this is a great first step for a new IP, and I am excited to see what they do in the future. But hey, if you like this video, guys, leave a like, leave a comment. What did you think about the Callisto Protocol? Did you agree with my opinions, or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.